Good day and welcome to the Namibian Annual Sports Expo for 2021. My name is Andrew Pullman, and stay tuned as we showcase some of the sponsors, some of the administrators, all of those very vital role players that make Namibian sports work. I believe there's always a lot of gratitude in Namibian sports community when sponsorships are involved, because there's so many things that are required to make Namibian sports a success. So stay tuned as we bring you some of those players, role players that are vital to the success of Namibian sport. Good day and welcome to this edition of the 2021 Namibia Annual Sports Expo. My name is Andrew Pullman, and today with us in studio we have Mr. Freddy Mwiya, the Chief Administrator of the Namibia Sports Commission, basically the main organizers, you could say, of the Sports Expo. Welcome, Mr. Mwiya.
Thank you very much. My name has been introduced, Freddy Mwiya, heading the Namibian Sports Commission. Very much happy that at least I can have this opportunity to share more ideas about the Sports Commission.
So maybe for those people that don't know, you can maybe just explain a little bit about what the role of the Sports Commission is in sports in Namibia.
The Sports Commission is an SOE, a state-owned enterprise that has been created by the Act of Parliament 12 of 2003. Being, a state-owned enterprise, meaning here we are responsible to regulate sport in the country, to promote and to coordinate sport activity in the country. We are an SOE within the Ministry of Sport, Youth and National Service. And as you know, our main head office is based here in Windhoek, but we do not have actually permanent structures out of Windhoek. But we are so fortunate that we have created what we call regional sports structures, where we've got some volunteers that are running sports in various 14 regions of this country.
So how would you lay out the strategic plan of the Sports Commission that you're currently working on?
Yeah, if you look about the strategic plan of the Sports Commission, it must be, in line with the strategic plan of the Ministry of Sport, Youth and National Service, because we, supplement one another, we cooperate one another, and we've got 5 key areas that actually are within our strategic plan, which was created in 2018. It will run up to 2022, and from 2022 we are going to evaluate the strategic plan to see how best we've implemented all the pillars within our strategic plan. One of the many key pillars in the strategic plan is about, sport development. That's why we've created structures in the region that at least we can be able to ensure that we can go to the grassroots and ensure that at least we provide opportunities to many of our young ones. And also one of the areas is also about governance. We would like to ensure that our sports codes or sports structures, that are affiliated to us, they've got proper governance. We also looked at the aspect of excellence. We would like them to ensure that at least the service that they deliver to the masses or to the sport lovers is of that excellent nature. We also looked about self-sustainability and reliance. It's not so easy. In sport, it's quite expensive. You need resources. As much as we need resources, there's a need for each sport federation to come with business plans, to come with a commercial arm, so that by the end of the day, they can be able to sustain themselves. Because for many years, many of sports codes, they relied much on government support every time. Even to buy a pen, they wanted to government support. We need to come with a paradigm shift that people can be able now to see how best they can, open up and be able to generate revenues for themselves that they can be able to sustain themselves. So obviously it's working very well. I'm very much impressed for the 4 years that we are really living to that blueprint.
Yeah, so one of the important areas that each sport code has to consider is the categorization of that has been laid out, category A or B or C. There's criteria and so on that was set up a while ago.
Yes.
According to which, maybe you can just explain to us how that works and what the current setup is.
Yes. From 2017, we came up with a new system where we need a need for us to categorize sport into various areas, because previously there was A, B, and C, but it did not actually explain in depth what is A, what is B, what is C. So with the categorization of sports code, we classified sports code into certain areas. The first area being the national sports code, And National Sports Code, the purpose is the sports code to bring social cohesion, to bring peace, to unite people. And we also categorize another sports code, another area which we call priority sports codes. In those priority sports codes, looking at sports code where we can be able to achieve medals at the Olympic Games, Paralympic Games, and international level. We also categorize the third area, which was called developmental sports codes. It means those sports codes that we can see great potential for us to develop those sports codes, that they can become priority or national sports codes. Then the last area was an open pool where we put everybody in there to say, you guys, you are still in this pool, and you need to improve yourself to come to either development, either to come to priority or to become a national sports coach. And also in terms of resources, resources are very limited. Economics have taught us a lesson that yes, we can have a lot of needs, but to satisfy all those needs is not so easy. At least then it helps us to ensure that when we got these little resources, where are we going to plow our money into? Yes, we need to plow our money into national sports codes and priority sports codes. However, we also need to support developmental sports codes because they also need to move across. We actually categorize 3 sports codes, and the criteria that we looked about this sports code that they've got their existence in many of the regions. We looked at football. Football is played every corner of this country. We looked about netball, girls' child. It's played every corner of this country. We also looked about rugby. Yes, why we looked at rugby? The aspect of social cohesion, because rugby also is one of the sport codes, even though it's not played across the entire country, but it brings people together. It unifies people together. Those ones, we classify them as national sports code. Then we looked about priority sports code. And the priority sports code, we looked where we got potential of achieving medals. I must be honest with you, team sport is very difficult for you to win that international medal because it's very much competitive. And also you need a lot of resources to plow in there, to invest in there. But we looked at individual sports codes. For example, we looked about cycling, which is doing very well. We looked about athletics. You have seen now, we have achieved it. Athletics, we say it's a priority sports code. Let's plow into athletics. Lucky enough, now we got the Mboma. We got the Beatis Maselingi. We got the Hiraria. You name it. We got the Jonas Juniors. Jonas Juniors also came from boxing, so to say. So we also looked at the boxing. You would see also boxing being a priority sports code. We got youngsters like Jonas Juniors. You remember 2018 Commonwealth Game, we brought a medal. Unfortunately, this time, at the Olympics, it was not so easy for him. But I talked to him. He told me, Mr. Mwiya, please watch for the space. I'm still coming back. I'm not actually done. So those are some of the sports. We looked at Paralympic, para-athletes. That is also one of the priority sports codes. We've seen what happened to Nambala and to Shikongo, what they've done. So that's a remarkable achievement. So those individual sports codes, we call them priority sports codes, including wrestling. Then we've got developmental sports codes. We've got 15 of them. There we've got quite a lot of them. Kickboxing, under developmental sports code, karate, under developmental sports code. We talk about hockey. Team sports, we've also brought a lot of team sport. Now we put them there, volleyball, basketball, that's where they are in that group. Then finally, we got also what we call open pool. In an open pool, we got also a lot of sports codes like motor racing, especially sports codes that are meant for social leisure purposes. We put them in that given area. So that's how we classified sports codes. But it will run for 4 years. They must prove themselves. If you're from football, prove yourself. If you're from netball, prove yourself. Because come after 4 years, which is next year, we are again going to reevaluate to see which sports coaches to need to stay within that given area. But the fortunate part that I can also be able to mention is because of professionalization of sports codes, 6 of them, we are very fortunate that sports codes like cricket, I can tell you, though it was under development sports code, cricket for me, it must move to become priority. If not possible, for me, it must move to become a national sports code because in terms of governance, they are topping the list currently now.
Yeah, no, they are indeed doing very well. So, looking at the year that we are currently in, or that is ahead of us, what would you say are some of the specific challenges that the Sports Commission is looking at facing international participation or whatever? What would you say?
Yeah, obviously, we had some challenges which everybody is quite aware in terms of COVID-19. Definitely it affected the operation of sport in this country. And, we could not actually have the opportunity, especially for contact sport, for our athletes to compete internationally. Neither could they compete at home. However, we could still be able to see the result that's coming out. Look at football now. through the World Cup qualifier, what they've done for the past two weeks and so, doing very well. Yes, and despite all those challenges in terms of financial constraint, it's been a very great challenge, because it was not so easy also to acquire, corporate sponsors, because corporate sponsors, they need mileage. They also need to be marketed. So as such, I know most of our federations were struggling, during this difficult time. So those were some of the challenges. But despite the challenges, we did not actually tell ourselves, let's just remain in our offices. We have gone out. You could see we've got a lot of projects that we are still running, and we carried on with sport activities.
So maybe in conclusion, is there anything else that you have a message to the nation regarding sports in Namibia, or sponsors, or anything else you would like to address?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the aspect of nation building. I can assure you, as I like to quote what my minister mentioned one time, my current minister, Honorable Agnes Chogarel, she said, which I quote, not politics, not church gathering can unify the nation, but just sport itself, one individual performance, or two individual performance, or one team performance can unify sport. Unify the nation. We have seen what happened now when our Paralympic team won, when our Olympic team won, the Bombers. You could see how the nation was united. So it means there's a need for us to invest in sport. There's a need for us to ensure that this industry is preserved, is well looked after, because it is the only industry, believe me. I'm not trying to be biased. I would like to say it is the only industry that one can say it can bring people at one place and unify the nation. So I call upon corporate Namibia that we really need to ensure that we preserve this industry and we look after this industry. I also want to conclude by saying the achievement of one athlete, I'll use the achievement of Christine Boma. It have actually become a market for the country. Just this achievement that she could have done, that she have done in 2 months, you can look at the achievement. We can even say she has become an ambassador of more than 10 ambassadors that we've sent out of this world. The work that they've done for 10 years.
Yeah,
she has done that work herself in 2 hours to market Namibia, because everybody knows about Namibia now. Yes, I'm not trying to undermine, but I'm trying to be very honest. In terms of marketing of this country, everybody talk about Namibia. They know Namibia, which could have taken us another 40 years to market Namibia. That's what I mean.
So maybe just looking back at this year's Sports Expo and the fact that you moved to not a venue, but the online approach that you took this year. How do you feel about that going forward?
I believe in innovation. You need to, every time the brain must function, the brain must change. We said, yes, there was a challenge of COVID, but we said COVID as a challenge, it created an opportunity for us to know that there is another way that we can be able to market ourselves and market sport industry. That's why we came with digital. And the digital, if you look at the second edition, it's going to reach all the 4 corners of this country. The previous one we had was only in Windhoek. It was only meant for people who could just go to the stadium, those people, few people, and those people could watch television during that 10 seconds of news time to see what's happening. But by going now digital, everybody, you say majority of our people got smartphones now. They are able to see what's happening. We are going to reach Katima, we are going to reach Karas, we are going to reach Kunene, across the whole country. They'll be able to see now. And the many aspects that we looked at now is to market the sports, federation, that people can be able to see that there are not only 4 sports codes in this country. We've got quite a lot of sports codes that people can choose from. So we are very much happy about the approach that we've taken this year.
So thank you, Mr. Mwiya, for your time today.
Yeah.
We hope to see that the Sports Expo will really be put Namibia out there internationally and from wherever you are watching. And so, just thank you for your input also into this project.
We really appreciate, and we are there to serve the nation. Passion for sport, that's our business.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.
We can't wait to be together again. But until then, let's stay safe.
You know, a few weeks ago, I would never do this on a Saturday morning. Back then, I was standing in line all day. Now it's just like that.
You are using the FNB banking app like I told you.
Girl, it saved my weekend. Now I can do all my banking on this.
Payments, transfers, checking statements.
Even opening accounts.
Just like that.
Oh, did I tell you what my husband did?
Even me, I want to save time with the, what's the name of the app?
FNB app.
Don't be left behind. Make the switch to the FNB app, online banking or cell phone banking, and change the way you bank to change your life. FNB, how can we help you?